Greetings, this is Professor Tom Wolf. This is an introduction to our mobile web development course, and I'm going to record this and I'll talk about what we're going to do in the class, what we'll cover, kind of give you an introduction to how the course will go, and also a little bit about me. So I'm an associate professor here at the College of Education, Criminal Justice, and Health Services. I've been teaching since about 2000. I've lived here in Cincinnati most of my life. I have bachelor's and master's degrees in computer science, and they're both from here at UC. I'm really interested in web development and programming. I do a lot of this work on my own, use it in my own projects and research interests. And I tend to teach courses in this area. So I typically teach the intro programming classes, and then web fundamentals, client side, and this course, the mobile web development. So I really enjoy teaching, and I like learning as well. Just some more about me, probably too much. I can read Old Norse and Latin. I'm interested in ancient languages, and one of my kind of pet interests is creating software for teaching Old Norse and enabling people to read the saga literature, which is kind of cool. Pretty much like anything Viking oriented, so I joke I'm a Viking wizard. I'm a blacksmithing enthusiast. I forge tools and weapons. Pretty much like any kind of craft. I like woodworking, carving, wood turning. I'm a master knitter. I do some fiber arts crafts and things like that. Another of my interests is in K-12 computing instruction, especially programming for younger students. And I haven't been able to do a lot in that area yet, but I'm hoping to do more. Here are our two dogs. That's Betty Davis on the left and Errol Flynn on the right. So this course is going to cover web technologies, HTML5, CSS3, which we use to make web pages, jQuery mobile. And what we'll do is we'll learn to create those pages so they're going to work well on a mobile device. Then we'll go a bit further and we'll start to learn JavaScript and jQuery coding so we can make the pages interactive so that they can respond to choices that the user makes. And then we'll go to creating what are called HTML5 cached apps. And these are apps that will download onto the device and run when the device doesn't have an internet connection. And then the final thing we'll do is we'll look at creating true mobile apps. They're called hybrid mobile apps with a tool called Cordova, Apache Cordova. So essentially I create a website and then I compile it into a native binary that runs on the phone. So it's going to be different for each phone. So an APK for the Android, whatever the iOS one is that runs on the Apple, excuse me, and the Microsoft versions there. So I've set up the course development, which I'll talk about in a minute, so we can do all the Android, pretty much all the platforms except the iOS. And the reason for that is we pretty much need to have an Apple lab infrastructure to do that, and I don't have that. But we'll be able to create apps using these web technologies that will run on any platform. And although we won't do it a lot of hands-on, I'll explain how you can do this on the iOS as well. All right, I'm using a flipped pedagogy for this course. I'm doing this in all my classes this year. And it's flipped in the sense that the usual information delivery, the lecture portion of the class, is now outside of class. And the hands-on part, the homework, is actually done in class in the sessions. And so this has been around now for about 5 or 6 years. Kind of started out in K-12, and now it's kind of starting to take on in college education as well. And again, the idea here is that you're going to prepare for the class session by looking at the content that I prepared for you, and that's going to include assigned readings in our textbooks, web-based articles or PDF-based articles that I have in Blackboard, and instructional vids. And those vids are going to be the vids that I create for you, which mostly do address directly the hands-on part of the course, as well as other more general videos. So we have the Linda videos, and then we have videos that are freely available on the internet, on YouTube, and a lot of my students like the New Boston, so we use those videos. So then basically we'll meet during the class sessions to do the hands-on. I'll be there to help you to learn to code. You can help each other. And occasionally you'll have to complete some work outside of class, but generally we'll try to get most things done during the class sessions. Now, just a friendly warning here, this is not going to work if you don't do the preparation work. If you just come to class, you won't be able to do any of the coding. You'll get lost real quickly. So you really have to do the prep work ahead of time, and it's really important for you to buy into that now rather than have a negative experience here down the road. Okay, so again, the mechanics. Each week you're going to prepare the material, go through the readings and the videos, and then we'll meet and we'll complete the hands-on, and I have practicums, labs, and assignments. And then one thing I'll ask you to do, and this is really the only thing that's time critical, is you need to do a weekly reflection posting to a discussion board. So I've created a discussion board for each week of the course. You have posted learning outcomes, and you're going to do basically just a short 3-paragraph post where you talk about what you did, how the hands-on went, and if you met the learning goals or not. And that has to be done every week. That's the only thing that's really time critical. If you're running a little slow on getting an assignment in, that's okay, but the discussion board postings are timed in Blackboard, and once they're not available, you're out of luck. You can't resubmit them. It really doesn't make sense to submit a reflection posting well after the fact. The idea is to do it while it's fresh in your mind, and really it's designed to cause you to do the reflection. I don't really need the information that's in it. I just need you to do the reflection to help with your learning. Grading is pretty straightforward. All the things that I call communicatives, these weekly reflection postings, 3 article reviews that I'm going to ask you for, possibly a few other things, are going to count for 15% of your grade. And then the practicums, labs, and assignments, essentially all the hands-ons, count for 85. There's no midterm or final, really no other tests. It's possible but unlikely that I'll add some quizzes in to follow up with the weekly work, but I don't think I'm going to have enough time to be able to get that done, so most likely we won't do that. So your grade is going to be based completely on the assigned work. It's project-based grading. There's absolutely no reason everyone in the class can't get an A. You're not competing with one another. I want you to help one another to learn. I would love for everyone to do well and get an A in the class and learn how to use the mobile web technology. Here are some of the resources that we're going to use. So we have assigned readings, and these are going to be from 3 textbooks, and actually more than that. So several textbooks for this course. I'm thinking of the other course in my head. Sorry about that. But I picked textbooks that are on Safari Books Online. And so I'll show you how you can go to the UC Library site and find the textbook. So here in the web mobile class, one of the textbooks is called HTML and CSS by Elizabeth Castro. And so that book is in the Safari Books Online. I also have my instructor presentations. Those are all on Blackboard. We'll use some technical tutorials which are on a website called w3schools.com. These are really short to the point tutorials, and I find that they're often just the thing to give you a really brief introduction to get you up and running with the technology. So they have tutorials on HTML5, CSS3, jQuery, jQuery Mobile, JavaScript. I'm also going to have instructor videos, and these are in Blackboard as well. They're also usually on YouTube, although it's usually to your advantage to look at them in Blackboard, because if there are any associated files, source code, or anything like that, that'll be in Blackboard, not on YouTube. UC has a subscription to the Linda videos. This will be available to students that are here on campus and enrolled. It's not publicly available otherwise, and I'll show you that in class. And then these new Boston videos are available for free, and they're online. And again, many of my students really like those. For the lab, we're going to be using the virtual Sandbox. This is a virtual machine. I've created a Windows 8.1 client that you're going to use, and I'll expect you to use this for your coursework. Simply because some of the stuff we're doing is very complicated and hard to set up on a machine. So some of the assignments you can do on your own machine pretty easily, but as soon as we start getting into the Apache Cordova and some of the Visual Studio stuff for Windows development, I think you'll find that you're going to want to use the virtual machine. Excuse me. So this is not the same as the virtual lab. When you connect to our virtual lab, you have a desktop that you can use, but there's no persistence. As soon as you log out, the desktop is completely erased and you can't store anything in it. The Sandbox gives you a copy of a virtual machine that persists, and so you can build stuff in the machine, log out, log back in, and it'll still be there. And so you can work on extended projects over time in the Sandbox. And I'll show you how to do this. And one of the big things we'll do the first night of class is try to get everybody up and running with this. So here's the URL to the Sandbox. And again, I'll show you some of this in class. I'll probably have some separate presentations that show how to do this too. There's also a bunch of help material that you'll find in Blackboard for the Sandbox and the virtual lab. Real quickly, to do the Sandbox, you have to use a VPN connection. And so if you go to the UC website and you search for the VPN, you'll find out how to do that. Okay, real quickly, I'm going to just show you a couple of these resources. Let me go ahead and close this presentation. And there's my Pandora black metal feed here. And let's just go here. So the first one is, let's take a look at the library. So it's libraries.uc.edu. And now this is important. If you're on campus, you can go right into the catalog. If you're not on campus, you have to use the proxy. So you see this off-campus access login, click on that. You don't have to use the VPN for this. You will use this for the Sandbox, but you don't need to use it to get to Safari. So basically, you just access this here, Library Off-Campus Access, and that'll present you with the login page. Although I'm fond of Chrome, I think it actually works better to use Firefox for this because of some of the issues with the way the site is designed. So you'll have to do the login. Now, I'm not on I'm on campus right now, so it won't actually let me even go there. So once I'm ready to go, basically, if I'm off campus, I've gone ahead and logged in. I come back to the catalog. I go to Books. I type Safari Online. Safari Books Online. Hit Enter. That comes up, electronic resource. I'll click on that. Connect to resource online. I'll connect to that. Here's the Safari site. And now there's a huge number of books here that you can look at. But generally, you're going to go and find the book that I've got an assigned reading for. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and type that in and search for it. So this is HTML. I'm not sure if it's HTML5 or not. I think it's just HTML and CSS. And we could try Castro, which is the author's name too. Let's see what happens. Yep, there's the book. So it's the HTML and CS Visual Quick Start Guide, 8th edition, and you can tell it has these like hieroglyphs on the cover, okay? So this is the book that we're going to be using initially in the mobile web development class, okay? So your readings will be there. There's another book called the CSS Cookbook. And one thing to be careful of is make sure you get the current version. So there's like several versions of this previous book. You want to make sure you get version 8. And then we want to get the latest CSS cookbook too. So if we look here, the 3rd edition, let's see, 2009. That's pretty old, so I might need to switch that book out. We'll see. Anyhow, it's just type in the title and find it. I should probably go ahead and show you what it looks like. Let me go back to that previous book. Let's open this up. So here's the book. There's the table of contents. I can jump right to a section from there. If I want to start reading the book, I start reading. I have a reading pane, and the contents are still here on the left. You can go to full screen if you want. This works very well on a tablet, so you can use your tablet, either an iPad or an Android tablet, to do this. There's a couple other controls you can play with if you have any issues. So you have a full screen thing here, and I think when you're watching it through the tablet, there's an option for an HTML only one. So then you can see I can start going through here page by page. If I want to pull up my table of contents, I can click back here for that, and then I can go directly to a chapter. So CSS building blocks, chapter 7, there we go. Okay, so again, you don't have to buy these books. You can use the online thing. It will work at home. Just remember to log in to the off-campus access in order to do that. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. Let's see, I think I already talked about everything in the course. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, so I will see you. And again, make sure you try to make the first evening, because next Monday is Martin Luther King's birthday, and I don't want you to be sitting there for 2 weeks not knowing what to do. So I want to get you up and running tonight. Generally, we won't take any snow days off. If we miss the class session, you'll still be expected to watch the videos and keep up with the work. All right, take care.